with lockdowns, layoffs, isolation, masks, overnight vaccines with mandates that threaten personal freedom, many people, quite understandably, are saying enough is enough. But with all that we've been through since the start of the pandemic, there could still be more adversity to come in the form of an economic meltdown known as hyperinflation. From Jack Dorsey's tweet last month and the slew of rebuttals directed toward him, is hyperinflation really a threat to the American economy? In this video, I'll answer that question as I explain exactly what hyperinflation means and some of the things you can do to prepare in case this storm hits home. I'm Javon Harris of Seek, and today I present to you Hyperinflation, what you should know in preparation. Please be advised, this video is for educational purposes only and should not be taken as advice from a financial planner or otherwise credentialed money management professional. This content has been created to inform. Consider it carefully, do your own research, think critically, and consult the appropriate licensed professional before you begin overhauling your financial portfolio. Thank you. Let's begin with the basics. What is inflation? Inflation occurs when the prices of goods and services increase, causing the value of money to decrease. Think of it in terms of a coin. You can't have one side without the other. On one side of the coin, prices increase. On the other side, purchasing power decreases. For example, let's say that in 2006, I could buy a cup of tea for $1.50. But in 2021, the price has increased to $3. With this price increase, my purchasing power has decreased, and that in 2006, I could buy 2 cups of tea for $3, whereas now in 2021, I can only buy 1 cup. Same tea, same currency, but different valuations. This is what we call inflation. Now, when we speak of hyperinflation, we're talking about ordinary inflation at an accelerated rate. Specifically, hyperinflation occurs when the rate of inflation hits at least 50% in 1 month. So, going back to our tea example, let's say that in August of 2021, I could purchase a cup of tea for $1.50. But 2 weeks later, the price for that same cup rose to $3. This would be considered hyperinflation. In fact, the price of tea would only have to increase by 50%. So if the cup were to cost me $2.25 up from the $1.50, this qualifies as hyperinflation. All right, so now that we know what hyperinflation is, let's talk about whether it's a threat to the American economy. History tells us that hyperinflation typically results from a destabilizing event, which in turn leads to a sharp decline in productive capacity, which the government attempts to correct by stimulus measures funded by the printing of money. Such was the case in Germany in 1922, Hungary in 1945, Yugoslavia in 1992, Zimbabwe in 2007, and Venezuela in 2014. Let's look at the trend once again. Hyperinflation typically results from a destabilizing event of some sort, such as a war or, let's say, a pandemic, which in turn leads to a sharp decline in productive capacity, which the government attempts to correct by stimulus measures funded by the printing of money. Have we in the United States experienced any part of this trend? Well, we most certainly have experienced a destabilizing event, which resulted in a sharp decline in our productive capacity because people were out of work. And yes, of course, the government attempted to smooth things over by printing trillions of dollars in stimulus money. Now, just take a moment and think about all of that before I continue to highlight evidence. Still with me? Good. Let's continue. Last month, CEO of Twitter and Square, Jack Dorsey, tweeted that hyperinflation is going to change everything. It's happening. And in response to his tweet, all sort of quacks from the financial sector rebutted him, saying, no, hyperinflation is not happening. It will never happen. And shame on you, Jack Dorsey, for suggesting otherwise. Now, what's interesting is that most of these clowns, compared to Jack, have no real credibility when it comes to their expertise surrounding the economy, nor do they have access to the type of real-time financial and transactional data that Jack has as CEO of Square. For example, Square has real-time data surrounding the following products: Square Reader, which is a physical device that allows mobile phones to process payments; Square Register, a traditional cash register for merchants; Cash App, which has a whopping 30 million users; Square Capital, which provides loans for merchants; Square Payroll; Square Financial Services, which is a bank; and Credit Karma Tax. So, Jack Dorsey has access to real-time data in essentially every financial sector that there is, which places him in an enormously credible position to make the financial forecast that he did. Therefore, if Jack says that hyperinflation is coming, I don't know about you, but I'm gonna believe him, rather than be distracted by so-called pundits that are always talking loud and saying nothing. Shut up! Moreover, according to my primary source of news, the Wall Street Journal, all the signs of rapid inflation are here. On October 13th, it was reported that US inflation accelerated last month and remained at its highest rate in over a decade, with prices increases from pandemic-related labor and materials shortages rippling through the economy. And on October 29th, strong consumer demand and supply shortages test economy with rapid uptick in inflation. And consumer prices rose at the fastest pace in 30 years in September. But apparently, consumers are asleep at the wheel and aren't paying attention to what's going on because corporate giants, including Procter & Gamble, Nestle, and Verizon Communications, say they plan to continue raising prices or pushing customers to buy more expensive products into 2022 to offset fast-growing costs amid a global supply chain crisis. Interesting. So, it's no secret that we're in the middle of a global supply chain crisis and that employers are finding it difficult to hire and retain employees. It's no secret that our production capacity has been severely impacted by the pandemic, and that our economy has been flooded with trillions of dollars in stimulus money. It's no secret that all the factors that has historically led to hyperinflation are glaring us right in the face. And yet, the government wants us to believe that it's business as usual and nothing to be concerned about.
This isn't happening. Everyone look away, please. Nothing to see here.
It's like if someone told you that fish were swimming in the sky when you clearly know that they're birds. I mean, would you believe such nonsense? Of course not. We cannot just simply believe what we're told. We must think critically based on our own research and understanding. Finally, now that we know what hyperinflation is, and that it's a real threat to the American economy and therefore the world's economy, what are some of the things we can do to prepare? First and foremost, we must put our trust in God. And before you tune me out and dismiss that as some cliche statement, take a minute and listen to what I'm about to say. Nothing can affect those of us in the kingdom of God other than what we allow. This is because we live from the inside out and not the outside in. And so, no matter what may be occurring on the outside, we always maintain control over the condition and circumstances of our lives from the inside. God is our source, not our jobs, not our bank accounts, not our stock options, not the economy, but God. And if you have spiritual ears and understand what I'm saying here, then you already know that no matter what happens, you have absolutely nothing to worry about. All throughout history, there have been people that have prospered in economic meltdowns. People who choose to view the so-called crisis as an opportunity rather than a tragedy. You have the power to choose to do the same. Practically speaking, to hedge against inflation, you can invest in commodities that rise in demand during inflation, such as precious metals, gold for example, agricultural goods, and oil and gas. People are also flooding into the cryptocurrency market with Bitcoin and other forms of crypto. Start researching today, and you may be surprised at the options available to you. Sacrifice and go and speak with a financial advisor and begin to get your financial portfolio in order. If you don't have one, create one. As I've said, think critically and creatively, using the infinite potential that God has given you. And before long, you'll be rest assured in saying, "This too shall pass." If you found this video informative, please do give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and share it with someone. Until next time, this has been Javon from Seek, and I thank you for watching. As always, I love you. Peace.